I want you, the listener. Yes, I want you, the listener, to press the like button, the subscribe button, but more importantly, comments. Comments that you liked or disliked the topic discussed. What would you like discussed? Because you, the listener, are who is important to me so that I can provide the value that you want and need.
Joel,
Yes, Ray.
we have to buy a lot of crap to service an account sometimes. I realize showing up with a handful of flat mops, the right buckets, the right cleaning materials, even that's not cheap. But good God, man. An auto scrubber? An auto scrubber?
Sometimes it's an auto scrubber.
So what we're really talking about here is scaling to service a new account and the cash outlay for equipment. How do you balance this stuff?
With a scale.
I slap you.
If you're looking to scale your business, you need to think about that right from the moment you decide to scale and grow. And you need to try to set money aside every week or once a month and set it into a savings account and create an account that you don't touch except for needs when you're having to buy equipment for a new account that comes online. That's one way. The other thing is have great working relationships with your vendors, because sometimes if you're working with a Jansan suppliers, some of those houses will take equipment on trade. And what that means is you trade in an old piece of equipment for a new piece of equipment. And depending on what kind of an account you have, if you're going into an account that is heavy industrial, you may not want to buy necessarily a brand new piece of equipment because you know it's going to get beat up in that environment. So calling your vendor and asking them if they have XYZ of what you're looking for, whether it be floor burnisher, an auto scrubber, a pneumatic piece of equipment, they may have something that you can purchase at far less than what it would be brand new. Or ask them for the demo units. Demo units don't have a whole lot of use, but they are taken on and off of vehicles, and they're taken out in the field to be tried out and used. And for particularly large scale clients, maybe school districts or supermarket chains, to try something for a week or a month, and then they just said, it's not for me. So now they really can't sell it as new. It was a demo unit. So again, it's an item that's out there that they're just looking to get something out of it.
I get that, but you still have the cash outlay. If you have brought back a piece of equipment, it's not going to cover the new one that you're looking for. It's a partial. You still have a cash outlay.
Yes.
Part of what you started your statement with was put something away every week, every month.
Yep.
Now, that's easier in some industries than others. We understand this industry gets ground on for price.
Right.
But if you choose to put nothing away, you'll have nothing to draw on.
You have nothing to draw on, so it might cover part of it. And sometimes, as long as your company has been around for a few years, you can go to the banks and you can apply for a line of credit. Now, the key thing there is you don't want it just sitting out there because it's interest that you have to pay every single month. And that also hurts your cash flow, but at least it gives you access to something.
Sure.
And most of the banks will look at your sales records and they will loan you up to about 10% of what your sales are. So if your sales are $100,000, they might give you $10,000 on a line of credit. That is another possibility. If you have a piece of equipment that you can trade that maybe you're not using and put it towards something else that you want, that might drop that price point down to something, just like if you're buying a car. There's a lot of things, and sometimes you have to be creative, but it starts with trying to plan for the future. So if you're factoring in on your quotes that you're going to spend 10% on equipment, and you happen to, with a given account, maybe spend 8%, take that 2% savings every single month and put that away, because you expect it to have to spend it. So if you start saving that 2% on each account, now you're going to have to do a little finagling or, looking at your books, or have an accountant or a bookkeeper that you're working with help you with that. But if you are spending 8% when you figured 10, take that extra 2% and put it away so that when you do have an opportunity come up, you have that cash reserve.
Joel, what you're talking about is delayed gratification.
Yeah, because I'm very gratified if I take on a new client and need a new piece of equipment, I got the money for it. Yes, that is gratifying.
But the plans that you're talking about here are the adult version of, I want it now, I'll take it later. When you are working with cleaning company owners who are squeezed every day, what's your tack with them? The reason I ask is it's really easy to understand how someone goes, "Oh, thank God I got an extra $50 this week. Let's go to dinner."
Hmm.
I get it. I love to go out to eat.
Who doesn't?
But everyone that I know who is wealthy enough now, it's because they pinched earlier.
They pinch pennies earlier, because of the long-term goal. And that's what you have to do is you got to look at what the long-term goal is. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to be in a year, 5 years, 10 years? Do you want to have an easier life to be able to take vacations later? Or do you want to take all that fun up front? And sometimes you got to put in the hard work up front to grow.
It can be a big ask to someone who's killing themselves every day.
It can be. And, even another way to stretch your money is talk to your vendors and tell them, hey, these are the things I buy most often. Mop buckets, backpack vacuums, upright vacuum cleaners, whatever it is. And sometimes they have sales on them. Or maybe next year's models are coming in, they need to get rid of things. You can get things at a discount.
Okay.
So instead of paying full price, maybe you're paying 80% or 85%. All right, you still got to have the money for it, but guess what? You just made your money stretch because you're buying it and you're trying to put it in your inventory for those quick turnarounds, because if you get an account, you got to have that stuff anyway. If you keep a moderate amount of inventory, you can outmaneuver some of your competitors because, hey, I can start that job. And if your current vendor decides to give you the keys and say, good, see if you can get someone else to start next week. And you've got the human capital and an episode we've done, as well as the physical material pieces of equipment you need, you can take those keys right from that client and start them up that day.
And that right there is the payoff for putting aside a few dollars, planning on keeping the people available, keeping your headspace free enough to say, yes, I can do that without having to say, oh, crap, how am I going to do that?
Exactly.
I bet you could get there if you had a good coach.
You just might.
Listeners, when you are ready to get the really good stuff, contact Joel. He has walked so many cleaning company owners through these types of decisions. The tiny amount that you will pay in coaching pales compared to what you and your company will reap. Joel, thank you.
You're welcome.